This is one of the craziest character models I've seen this year, and 2026 has already brought in some awesome designs. This beautiful four-legged woman is proof that the 3D anime style in games continues to evolve. The art style is getting more perfected and production quality is increasing in so many different aspects. This is Rosetta, a recurring character in the game Punishing Grey Raven, in a new frame. Now hear me out. Mechanical Centaur Women? Now that's exotic. Some of you might be surprised if you haven't seen a PGR character in a long time, but maybe you shouldn't be. See, character models actually evolve in this game when they get new forms, and Kuro Games, as far as I've seen, is quite flexible when it comes to improving technical and artistic aspects of their models over time. But this new character isn't merely an improvement in terms of PGR models. They actually pushed the envelope so far with this one that it might be one of the most intricate and dynamic character models of 2026. Her peak cutscene-like animations, ability to change forms mid-fight, and the unique eye stack tech, just to name a few. The effort in this model is insane. So let's take a look at the vast number of features and techniques packed into this absolutely hot Centaur. First, let's talk about her face. Kuro Games' general art style is excellent at mature and serious looking faces, while still being pretty and possessing a strong silhouette with a beautifully contoured side profile. Isolating the face mesh, the first particular thing I noticed is her relatively flat face plane. This is approximated by rotating her iris until it's straight, giving us a rotation of about 8 degrees. That's relatively low because I see models usually at around 16-degree rotation when it comes to the side planes of the face. However, this is not an error by any means. A lot of people feel like the face plane is a curved structure, but in reality it's actually flatter and kind of like a card bent in half, rather than something like a half cylinder. Now, while Rosetta's face is flatter than the average model, it's done on purpose to optimize her front view and her slight quarter views, which in reality is all you're really seeing with this model because of how her bangs frame her face and occlude the more extreme angles. These clean straight loops at the outer edges of the faceplane are always a must in this art style, especially because the mesh density is lower than realistic models. These edges allow the smooth silhouette to be retained even at these angles. As is standard, they usually don't complete the back of the head when it comes to the face mesh. Note the next boundary in relation to the face separating where the chin ends. They are separate meshes for now, but the edges do line up perfectly. The back of the hair occludes the neck and the face mesh where they are incomplete, aligning to the face mesh. And as you can see, you don't even have to match these areas, as long as everything is aligned. The back hairs then overlap the back of the neck, occluding that area as well. And then finally, the bangs area will occlude all of this open area right here. Some art styles have a mesh for their hairline areas. Here it's directly textured onto the face mesh, and that's a suitable solution for this angle right here if you ever see it. This face mesh also features a lot of density changes at the eye sockets, the nose, the mouth, and the cheeks, mostly accomplished by this triangle pattern, which effectively doubles the mesh resolution in any given area by allowing an extra edge in between thanks to this 2 to 3 pattern. Here we dissolve the additional resolution points to see that it does make quite a big difference for those key contours. And this is really important for close-up face animations. Now, I know that some quad purists will definitely question the placement of triangles on the cheeks and mouth because they heard it from the professor or something. The truth is, models don't just randomly explode if there's pre-engine triangulation triangles somewhere on the mesh. This real-time deformation shows that there's really no issue. In fact, it just benefits from the increased resolution with zero visible drawback, especially since anime face meshes are often shaded flat and the shadows are handled with SDF textures anyway. I should also mention that since this is the Modeler's Edition, we can see the actual intended topology rather than relying on a RIP or officially released MMD model, which is already triangulated. And in those cases, when you untriangulate using Blender using tris to quads, some information is lost, which can be confusing due to the arbitrary untriangulation. They also interestingly pre-triangulate some quads, I guess to dictate the edge direction and not let the engine decide when they can just choose for themselves. Now, extracting her eyeballs out of her eyes, you might notice something slightly different. Rather than the usual separate pupil and then the pseudo eyeball with a hollowed eye socket, they're using this somewhat flat eyeball method. The painted digital details on her iris are extremely high resolution. Now here's something truly special. Usually for the iris, it's simplified into a fully convex or concave shape. But here, for Rosetta, they've actually made a three-dimensional and realistic iris by making the front half of the iris structure semi-transparent and giving the back half its own unique texture as well for this amazing 3D effect. Take note of the stack of digital details sandwiched in between at varying depths. You can definitely see the depth and motion it adds to the eye during certain animations where the eye is at an angle. This is honestly so unique and well executed. Now let's talk about that beautiful body. Mesh and rigging wise, having a mechanical body is actually simpler in some aspects because each part can just be skinned with full weight, without having to worry too much about folds or bends like we do for flesh topology. These mechanical parts can be modeled more minimalistically, disregarding extra loops needed for deformation and curvy areas. Other aspects will get more complex though. I'm sure texturing every face of every part was a whole adventure in itself, including the wear, scratches, paint, and here I am thinking texturing normal skin is a chore. In some ways, she's kind of built like a PC with this, braided GPU cable. And for those of you affected by the skyrocketing RAM prices, maybe you can ask to borrow a couple of her spare sticks. Another neat thing about a model on this stage is that everything's still separate instead of combined into one mesh, so you can kind of get an idea of how it was modularly worked on. Notice how they cleverly designed her front half to be a standalone humanoid model. Heck, they even made sure to keep the unspoken high heels rule. This is vital to her in-battle transformations where she rapidly switches between centaur and human form, galloping across the field on all fours and converting the hind legs into boosters so she can dart around mid-air and start hacking away. This versatility also extends to her wide array of attacks. She uses a lance, but her various modules also creatively reposition to give her a sword, lasers, missiles, and even assisted melee attacks. Oh, and also a bow and arrow, I forgot. Now what else? Her breasts, interestingly, don't use radial topology, and this is fine. Also, their shape is really good. This will make for a good reference. These are transparent in-game, along with some other parts, exposing her mechanical insides like the spine and the arm tendons. Quickly touching on her hair, one thing I really appreciate about PGR models is the high strand density as you can see on these front and side bangs. And an advantage of snagging this in-production model is we still have the separation between the base structure of the bangs and the added offshoots. You can see how they're well balanced and spread throughout the main structure. The silhouette is really sleek because of the good balance between the strand sizes and the directional flow on the ponytails. And these mechanical embellishments weave in pretty naturally. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the amount of battle animations is insane with the 2 modes and various attack patterns. The animations are not only fluid and satisfying, but they seamlessly transition into each other, which is a lot of work considering all the moving parts and the different ways they're utilized. I especially like those quick, clean, arcing and multi-slashing movements, and everything together is rich and complex, including the digital interface details, distortions, and environment interactions. Now observe the amount of budget that was put into this ultimate attack cutscene, where she does the epic hand thing with exaggerated perspective and she's breaking through the cinematic black bars. Oh, she looks absolutely gorgeous in this shot. Then the camera goes close up, showing her dynamic shouting mouth expression and layered eye tech. Then it breaks into impact frames, emphasizing the force with high contrast black and white, aggressive motion smears, and ends it off with a big bang. Easily one of the most dynamic and visually appealing attack cutscenes I've seen in a game. Now also in this update is this boss enemy that Rosetta has a score to settle with. I also took some time to appreciate their fight dynamics and take a look at his model. Just like Rosetta, he has an elaborate 2-part design to go with the 2 phases of the fight. One thing that has always stood out when reviewing PGR models is their efficiency, and this remains true even as they've advanced with their modeling. I love seeing how their mesh density varies depending on the situation, how they squeeze in more density in necessary areas, and reduce density where it really isn't needed. This is the key to having functional meshes with very little sacrifice on the visual end. While we're here, let's look at some male modeling differences for the upcoming male tutorials. Starting with the face, we've got that straighter nose bridge, more neutral nose tip as opposed to like this pointy shape that you see with females or children. Got this more prominent brow ridge, and take note of the philtrum and chin angles as well. From the front, it's like this rather than, you know, that pointier shape. Females' mouths usually stay within the width of the eye gap, but male lips are often wider and can cross this boundary. The nostrils are usually detailed in to go with a more detailed nose. Another thing with this model is the exposed pecs and abs, which are pretty subtle, but it's not every day that the pecs and abs are included, so we'll take what we can get. Whoever this guy's hairdresser slash hair model was is simply built different. The layering, spacing, and sheer amount of strands itself definitely took a great deal of effort. Imagine tweaking all of the individual waves and curls here, but again, it's pretty optimized relative to its complexity. The strands are strictly 2 faces wide, and the density increases in the more curled areas, but is lower in parts that it doesn't need to be that dense. Now, how in the world did they do this without even that much overlapping of the strands? Look at the second phase's wings and how there's barely any need for horizontal cuts, saving on a lot of faces, since they only really move along the vertical edges. The edges of this outfit right here too. Really simple but effective. Gameplay wise, he also kind of matches Rosetta with some epic attacks of his own and the whole form change thing. I like when he duplicates his sword and dual wields it, and this results in an epic fight between the two of them. The combined effort of everything we've just mentioned is fully felt in these battles. Also note the detail of the water drops on the lens and the suspended water combined with a matrix lag. One super satisfying sequence is when Rosetta dodges the boss's wave attacks laterally in her centaur form, then dodges a larger wave by rising up over it with her boosters in human form, then blinks into range and starts slashing. Simply marvelous. What a time to be alive. And well, that's gonna be it for today. The bar is once again being raised with another insane character design. Hopefully you got something from this slightly more unique pull we had today with a pre-game feature-packed model with a body style that you don't see every day. On top of that, I find it very interesting when a live service game pushes the boundaries of their character design, with new designs showing clear improvements and an evolution of modeling techniques, especially when contrasted with older characters. Anyways, thank you for watching my video. You guys are in fact my goats. Keep yourself safe out there and have yourselves a good night.